All right, today's episode is of Love, Lust, and Lies. First of all, I am your host, Ken Canion, and thank you for joining me. I hope you all are having a great, great day. And yesterday I did part one of the ways women lose men, things men hate, part two. We're still focusing on women, part two. Things women do to lose men. I tell you, because a lot of times men internalize stuff and we don't talk about it. So I want to go back in that vein. But I got to start with this. I had a client that called me this morning. Well, I called her. And I noticed something was wrong because she wasn't doing what she said she was going to do. She has assignments. And in those assignments, they weren't coming. And so I can always intuitively tell when something is wrong with people that I'm close to. So I called her up. I said, listen, I texted her. I said, call me. So she called me this morning and she said, I'm just feeling down. I'm feeling almost depressed. And she said, Ken, how did that happen? Because just a few days ago, I wasn't feeling this way. And I explained to her, and the reason why I'm starting this video out is because I want you to understand is, there is a virus more insidious than coronavirus. And this virus stays with you all the time. It's the virus of negativity. And what happens, y'all, is it creeps in slowly. You're hanging around somebody who says something negative. You begin to internalize it. Or you're watching the news too much. I told my wife, I got to stop watching CNN. So I stopped. I might watch it at night some of the time, but I can't watch it during the day. Okay? Because this virus of negativity seeps into your psyche, into your subconscious mind, to the point, y'all, have any of y'all started dreaming about, things happening, people dying, you getting corona, I got to wash my hands? Well, if you are, what's happening is you're allowing this negativity, as Milani Shani says, shadow thoughts. The shadow thoughts is what she calls them, to permeate your subconscious mind. Okay? Y'all, you got to guard your subconscious mind, because think of your subconscious mind as like the program that you operate on. Your brain operates. And when there's a virus that comes into your computer, when there's a virus that gets into your mind, this virus disrupts everything in your life. She started doing what she was doing. So I had to come in there and clean the virus off. And I told her, listen, the way you clean a virus off, and listen to me before we get started, is the virus infects your emotional stability. I'll say that again. This virus infects your emotional stability. And so what happens, you start feeling down. You start feeling depressed. And so I tell her we got to interrupt that pattern. And what we do, you interrupt the pattern because it's becoming a pattern. You interrupt the pattern by doing another motion. So I said, motion creates emotion. So I said, listen, what's happened is this virus has got inside of you and it made you want to stop writing. She's writing a book. It made you want to do this. I said, go back to write through it anyway. Write through it. Because what's happening is the motion will create the emotion that you desire. And I lead that into where we're going today, because there are going to be many things that I tell you to do, and you might not want to do them, because a lot of times people say, I don't want to work out. I don't want to do this. I said, don't worry about not wanting to. I said, do it anyway, because the way the brain functions is the brain has to see you doing it. Now, I'm spending a little time on this because there are some of you out there, y'all, who are depressed. You're in a funk. You're not feeling the way you used to feel. There's something going on, and that virus of negativity or those shadow thoughts are infecting you, and you got to get rid of them. You got to start doing the things that you were doing the things you want to do, doing the things that combat it, doing the positive things, hanging around positive people to eradicate that virus. All right, let's get started. All right, y'all. I had to say that because I felt like when she told me that, I was like, wow, let me help you. So anyway, let's get cracking. Part 2. So yesterday I went through the 5 ways that women lose men. And so today I'm going to go through the next 5 ways. The next 5 ways that women lose men, things that men hate. And as I stated yesterday, let me back up 1 second. Men a lot of times won't tell you what they're believing, what they're feeling, because we have been conditioned ever since we were young. Don't cry. If it hurts, you get hurt, get up, don't cry. Okay, we get up. Showing your emotion has been a sign of weakness. The truth of the matter is, y'all, we were taught incorrectly. What happens is showing your emotions a lot of times is a sign of strength, because you keep things in. And when you keep things inside of you, what happens is it grows. Every seed planted grows into something. And so that being said, they may not tell you what's going on. So I'm going to tell you what's going on. All right, the next 10 of, the ways, things men hate, ways women lose men. Number six, first 5 yesterday. Okay, number 6, and this will apply to men as well. Not doing what you did to get him to keep him. That seems, I don't know, in reality it seems so simple in what we're saying now, but what happens is that becomes insidious, because what happens is we get complacent. Complacency, y'all, is insidious because we get complacent. What happens when you get complacent? You begin gaining weight. I got complacent, got up over the 420 pounds. Complacency makes you settle into a way of doing things that is not productive to you growing as a person and in a relationship. So what happens is when you first started, y'all was getting it in. He was hitting that thing everywhere, in the car, in the park, in your driveway. You could even make it to the house. But then when you get in a relationship, all of a sudden you don't want to give it to him. All right, you don't want to give it to him. I got to give it to you on Monday, and we'll maybe get it on Thursday. But what he's done is, see, here's what messes people up, y'all. It is not the fact that we're not having sex, or you're not cooking anymore, or we're not going to the park anymore. And this applies to men too, because men do the same stuff. But what it is what makes this so bad is because the way people operate is relationships end when expectations don't equal results. Okay, I'll say it again. When your expectations don't equal your results. Because when you started doing something in the beginning of the relationship, it became an expectation. It became an expectation because it is what I was conditioned to receiving. Now, if you're doing something, it's just like the woman says, he used to open my doors, and now he doesn't open my doors. It became her expectations. Now her expectations don't equal her results. And then she becomes disgruntled. Same thing with him. Is before you were cooking for him, before you were washing his feet, and I know you had children. I get that. But the truth of the matter is, even though you interjected something new, a child, what you have to do is address the things that you stopped doing. So in other words, here's what happens. So now, you're a woman, you got everything going on. You got to take the kids, you got to breastfeed the kids. I don't feel like getting that thing up to you. But here's what you have to do. You have to, with a man, you have to not only address it, but you have to make provision for it. Okay? He understands that the baby's sucking on your nipple. He gets that. But you have to make time for him to suck on the other nipple. I'm just keeping it 100. Okay? He has to make time, even though he's working. Okay? And you want to go out. And he's tired. He has to make time for that. If it's Saturday morning, we're going to go to the park or whatever, because what happens is you have been conditioned to get that, to receive that, and it has become an expectation. All right? And so that's number 6, the reason why men leave. And it's not the thing that the change. It is not addressing the change. What couples go wrong because it's not that people change. People change, and in the word of the day today, I'm going to talk about change. It's not that we change, it's that we don't address change. We just expect the other person to understand. That's the problem. People cannot read your mind, woman or man. And what you have to do is be willing to face the tough issues. Number 7, why men leave, emotional inconsistency. Emotional inconsistency. This is powerful. Y'all, I cannot tell you how it's important for a man to understand this. I need to know what to expect. Human beings need consistency. They need it. Y'all, that's why we drive to work the same way every day. That's why when we get to our office, every day we have a routine. Routines are things that people need. They need consistency. Do you know why? Because one of the number one, I think out of the top 5 needs, the need for certainty in your life. And what certainty is anything I can control. I need to be certain that, you know what, that my wife gonna come home every day after work. I need to be certain that I got a job. And what happens is when you have uncertainty in your life, it creates disruption in your psyche. That's why, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna kick y'all, I'm gonna give you some real talk. Do you ever notice how when you drive to work every day, sometimes you don't even know how you got there. You just drove. But what happens is the subconscious programming that you operating on knew you were supposed to turn right here, turn left here. All of those are being operated by your subconscious mind. When a man comes home and his subconscious mind doesn't know what to expect from her, that's a problem. Emotional. One day you're up, the next day you're down. One day you're telling me you're good, we should move, the next day you're not. One day you're telling me how great I am, the next day you're telling me how effed up I am. He doesn't know what to believe, and what happens is it creates emotional inconsistency. And y'all, when a man doesn't know what to do with emotional inconsistency, the best thing he would do is back away. He would back away. He was like, yo, I don't know what to do. Number three, and why a man leaves, things men hate. Now, this seems like an obvious one right here. This seems very obvious, but it's not. Comparing him to your ex. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, comparing him to your daddy. Okay, comparing him to your uncle. Comparing him to another man. See what happens when you do that with a man, and y'all might be, it's subtle. You might say, well, my daddy used to do this. My uncle used to take me here. My uncle, and what you're doing is you don't think of it as comparison, but his mind received it as comparison. His mind said, oh, what you're really saying is because I don't take you nowhere. Your daddy used to take you anywhere, but I don't take you anywhere. Is that what you're saying? He doesn't respond and say, is that what you're saying? But that's what he heard. That's what he heard. And so when you begin comparing somebody to someone else, no man wants to be compared to another man. No man. And God forbid you compare him in sexually. Listen, and I'm going to tell you something. You know, even if he asks you, whose is this? Who was better in bed? Let me tell you something. First off, if he ever asks you that question, that's rooted in insecurity anyway. I don't even want to know, because what you did with whoever else. Now, when I was young, that was a question I would ask. You know, what I tell people now is, if a man were to ask you that question, here's how you answer that question. You know what? It doesn't matter about him or anybody else. What matters is how I feel when I'm with you. You see, I just diffused that. And what I did was not only diffuse that, I just swept that away, because I don't even want to get in that conversation, because that's a conversation you cannot win. You can't win it, I'm telling you. So what you do is you avoid any comparison to another man, be it your father, your uncle, relative, cousin, ex-boyfriend, anybody else, because no man wants to be compared to another man. All right? Number eight. Ooh, this deep right here. Now I'm going to take my time with this. I'm not going to be on here long today, but this is so deep. And it's saying, okay, Number 8 is simply it's number 9. Operating in your relationship based on your pain of inadequacy. Operating in your relationship or in the relationship based on your pain of inadequacy. Now, Melanie Shani is my partner, and she helps heal people. And we've been in this class doing this 21-day challenge. Y'all, we're about to offer something that's powerful. So yesterday, I met with 2 other people. One of the exercises was be vulnerable to people in your group. So she put us with 2 other people. So I got in there. And what I realized when I was talking to one of the people there, she said, I've been operating, I have a toxic relationship. But what I realized was she was operating in the relationship based on her pain of inadequacy. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. How many of y'all, how many women have had things happen to you in your past? And you were insecure. Somebody cheated on you, or somebody told you you weren't this, and you haven't been healed from that. You haven't grown past it. You have gone past it, but you haven't grown past it. And so now you're in a new relationship, and no matter how good he is to you, I don't care what he does. If he spends a little less time, now my pain brain is the brain that I make decisions out of based on the pain I'm in. And so now I feel inadequate. So no matter what he does, no matter how many times he tells me, no more. So whenever his phone rings, I'm going to be like, who was that? Okay. Who was that? Okay, because I'm operating because I don't feel like I'm inadequate enough. I'm adequate enough because there are a lot of people, y'all, who don't value themselves enough, right? So what they do to overcompensate because of this lack of value, they overcompensate by actions or things to hopefully secure me. Okay, so now I want to see your phone. I want to see your social media and see who's been inboxing you, thinking that this is going to give me happiness. And the truth is, y'all, if you're in a relationship and you have not healed from the things of your past, I don't care what happens because you think that the relationship itself is going to bring you happiness. And there's a study that showed this. There's a study that they did recently, and I just read it. I was just reading the study that said this. Now watch this. The study said that they surveyed 100 men and women. And what they said was they thought that they got in a relationship, this relationship would make them happy. And do you know they followed them for 12, 13 months? Do you know in 12 months, even in a relationship, they were back in the same place they were in, even if they were in a good relationship, because they were looking for the relationship to bring them happiness. And true happiness doesn't come extrinsically outside yourself. True happiness comes intrinsically from inside. That's the reason why you got to heal. That's the reason why you got hurt by another guy and then you go into another relationship and now you're looking at this guy and he's like, I'm bearing the sins of every other guy that you ever dated because you never got healed from the last 2-3 relationships. And you're lugging all that baggage to every relationship. And when you leave, you got more baggage. And so now you come to this good guy, this guy that wants to treat you with everything. I was in a counseling session yesterday, y'all. I was in a counseling session yesterday with 2 people. And the guy said, she said, I want you to be honest. When he told her his honesty, she condemned him for the honesty. Now he said, I'm getting over a marriage that I was in. He was honest about it. He said, I really care about you. He said, you treat me like I've never been treated before. However, I was married 13 years and I got the divorce papers. I signed the divorce papers in front of you. And what I'm saying is you're the one I want to be with. But no matter what he said, her pain brain from past relationships, past hurts, past insecurities, past things that happened when she was a child, she only saw, you still love her. You don't love me. And when I was on the phone and I was thinking to myself, the decisions that you're making are from your pain brain. Now, I've brought her a long way And at the end of the conversation, she acknowledged that I did. Y'all, that right there was huge. First off, you got to be willing to acknowledge I need help. I need healing. And there's going to be a way where we're going to help heal people who want to heal from past relationships. That's coming in May, y'all. It's coming only for those who are ready. Only for those who want to. And the last one, number 10. Number 10 is big, y'all. Number 10 is this. Communicating poorly during anger. Communicating poorly during anger. You want a man to get up outside, you want a man to get away from you in a hurry? It's because when you start communicating and you go off at the drop of a hat. Now, a man expects to have a certain amount of conflict. That just comes with being a man. I get that. But I don't want to argue. Every time we have an argument, you just explode. You just accuse. You go crazy. I often say, anger is one letter from danger. Anger is one letter from danger. Because the more you do that, the more you put yourself and our relationship in danger of not succeeding. I remember when my wife and I, we were just going through 12 years ago, and we were about to get divorced, and we were both just mad. And one day I just got so mad, I was just like, what the fuck? I can't take this. You know, I never forget. I was like, what is wrong with me? And then I never forget. I was like, my wife said this, and I love her to the day for this, because I didn't know what to do. So what she said was this. Number one, let's get out of this environment that we're in, because in this environment, there is a seed of anger. And she said, let's go for a ride. I never knew that one ride would change my life forever, because I knew the more I stayed in it, I didn't want to be angry, but what I did was I let the emotion of the situation consume me. And instead of focusing on the message she was giving to me, her focusing on the message, I started focusing on the messenger. And every time she raised her voice, I didn't hear what she said. All I wanted to do was get my voice bigger than hers. And y'all, what I realized was this. I realized that how you address communication during anger will determine how long your relationship lasts. And what me and my wife did, we developed a conflict resolution system that day. I often say, starting May 1st, you're going to see how we did it. And we had $7 that day, y'all. $7 saved our marriage. And I realized something. I realized when you communicate via anger, okay, as a woman, here's what the man sees. You know what the man sees? He doesn't see you as a teammate. He sees you as an adversary. And anytime the man that you're with sees you as an adversary, he can no longer stay with you. That's just what it is. Because a man's home is his sanctity. It's the place, it's his sanctuary. That's the place where I want to go. I don't want to come fight with you. And the truth of the matter is, if I'm fighting with you every single day, I'm getting out of here. I'm gone. Either if I'm going to the side chick, that's what they do. Because the side chick, I told you before, is the safe place, the safe zone. She going to compliment me. She going to be saying, you know, you ain't got to argue with me, even though it's not right. No, it'd be better to fight through it, to talk through it, to heal through it, and work through it, because that shit with the side chick ain't real. It's not real. That's an illusion. And what happens is, because we don't want to fight, because we don't want to heal, because we don't want to do the hard work that it takes to face yourself, the man in the mirror is the one that's messed up. We often absolve ourselves of problems. We often absolve ourselves of relationship problems. The truth of the matter is, no one person is always at fault. That's the truth. Even if your person is cheating on you, you contribute to it. Not you. I mean, the man and the woman. They're two people. And so what we have to be willing to look at is what have I done? What is my stake? What have I done? What could I have done better? What could I do? Okay? It's okay to think about what the other person did, and we can heal that. But the truth of the matter is, we have to be looking at the man or woman in the mirror. All right, y'all. 10 ways. Yesterday and today, women lose men. Things men hurt. And I mean, things men hurt. I meant things men don't like. All right, let me give you the word of the day. Y'all know I got to always give you your word of the day. And I got to thinking about it. And so here's your word of the day. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. I'll say it again. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. You have to, especially in this time of uncertainty, you have to make a choice to grow. You know what I say to my clients now? I say the truth of the matter is those people who are working now on the other side of coronavirus, those are the people who are going to prosper in ways you've never seen before. That's why I'm grinding. That's why every day y'all see these videos. Because when this is over, when human beings begin to socialize again, what they're going to need healing. They're going to need coaching because they've been stuck by themselves in isolation. And the human being needs human touch. They need to be with each other. They've been stuck in isolation to their own. They've been left to their own thoughts, their own devices. They're going to need people like me, coaches. They're going to need healing like Melania and myself. They're going to need us. And what we need to do is I got to grind now for the people I'm going to meet later. You got to grind now for the man or woman you're going to meet later. You got to become a better version of yourself. If you're not willing to become a better version of yourself, you will never attract the person you want to attract. That's just it. Y'all, that's it for me today. Y'all, thank you so much. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. Y'all be good. Be safe.